Turn down my ringers. Good. Turn down.
Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Outstanding. Hello, everybody. How are you? What a great job Dimitri did filling in on Friday. I am so grateful. Grateful to Jason and Brock and Dimitri for giving me a day to go deal with throngs of crazy people at the mall. Thanks. It was everything and more I hoped it would be. It was really, really nice to watch you guys. I checked in periodically throughout the morning, and you held a steady audience the entire time, which I think is a tremendous testament to you guys and what was being talked about. I think it's outstanding. So congratulations.
I looked at it as a success for a different reason.
Why?
Because, when you're trying to find a fill-in, it's putting your PD hat on. You have to start thinking differently than you just normally do. So
people don't know what PD is, Brock.
Program director. So for a radio station, you have a program director.
Got to make it good for everybody, my man.
You have to have a program director who makes the decisions on who is
a viable voice. That would be a good feeling.
So you start doing the math and you say, okay, Dimitri has the same core.
He's a complete pro. He understands radio. He's done it for years and years and years. He's good at it. He's solid. I think he's dynamite, and he's not me.
Yeah,
and that's the best. That's the best part. Be you.
Yeah, for all the people who were upset he didn't say the pledge. The fact of the matter is him and every other radio show across America doesn't say the pledge.
That is what I do.
That is what she does, and that's part of finding someone else.
And the reason why I do is because Mitch McConnell didn't think it was important anymore.
Wrong. That's fake news.
To say what?
It was not Mitch McConnell.
Was it Chuck Schumer?
No.
Who wasn't?
Who's the Weeble Wobble?
Oh, Nadler. Sorry. My goodness.
Fake news. I fact-checked you.
My goodness gracious.
That was a monumental time of the show. I can't believe you don't remember.
It was a monumental time. But they're all so disappointing. That they all kind of bleed together regardless of their political proclivities. Jason shared this with me. I love it.
I did not get one, so I'm going to need to make a news.
Look at that.
I didn't get one.
Look at that in camo with the logo on the sleeve. Alleging something is true that is actually BS. Right? We were struggling to come up with the definition. Because you guys were like, well, what do you want that to say? And I'm like, well, allegedly is like alleging something's true that's actually BS. And you both looked at each other and went, ooh, and I like that and wrote it down. So I love this. The camo shirt, allegedly. Guess what I'll be wearing tomorrow? Cannot wait because it's freezing in here. I'm going to wear my long sleeve waffle knit shirt. It gives me a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling with allegedly. Perfect. Right? We have a new sponsor starting today.
We do.
I'm so excited.
We need like a sounder for a new sponsor sounder.
I agree.
I will say, it's not typical you have someone running stuff like this sponsor, but it's a hell of a deal what they're running.
Mm-hmm. We'll be telling you the deets on that here coming up in just a little bit. So let's see. Let's see what's going on. We've got a packed show. Of course, we've got to talk about a new variant.
Oh, look out.
Wow, a new smoke screen, a new distraction.
On my way in, I was thinking just that.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking,
what happens? What is going on today that's really important that nobody wants you to know much about?
What's all the news we're not talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell. How many people slept with, young girls? How many celebrities and politicians and, Supreme Court justices and people in politics are connected to Jeffrey Epstein?
What else?
And why is it that the cameras aren't being involved in that case? Why isn't that open to the public? Maybe there are people on the bench who have been known to sleep with underage girls, a la Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. How many people were on their island, traveled on the Lolita Express? Shh, we don't want to talk about that. Let's release a new variant
Well,
let's talk about it.
let's think of another huge news story that they've dropped and don't want to talk
The
about.
Christmas parade in Waukesha. Remember, it was an SUV that killed all those people. Right.
Well, let's also remember how long they carried the story of Charlottesville, which I don't disagree with.
And by the way, Black Lives Matter behind a $5 million fundraiser for Darrell Brooks, the guy accused of gunning through that crowd of holiday celebrants in Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Boy, if that's not money well spent, I don't know what is. But let's not talk about that. Focus on this new variant.
Not important.
Scary variant. And on cue, Fauci comes out and hits the Sunday circuit.
They're trying to rehab him.
Wow. Damage control ain't working. Not a chance. Hey, make sure you guys share this, please. If you're not getting notifications, I know a lot of people aren't.
Okay.
If you wouldn't mind sharing this.
Here we go.
Thank you.
Using facts to take on the woke politicians, triggered leftists, and the corporate media.
You just got to try harder not to suck.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, you're listening to the Wendy Bell radio program.
Hey, good Monday, America. It is so great to be with you to start another busy broadcasting work week. So wonderful to be back. I enjoyed a 3-day weekend. Hopefully you guys had a lovely Thanksgiving with people you care about. We've got so much to talk about today. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. You know, enough already. Just enough. I've had enough of bad behavior in this country, being excused, being allowed, not being prosecuted, offenders not being held to account for their behavior. Enough is enough. I have absolutely had enough. You know, we, the parents of this country, and I'm not talking about people who literally have had children. I'm talking about the people who watch over the goodness and the future of this great nation. We, the people who have skin in the game, who actually get up every day and contribute, who have a vested interest in the survival of this great republic, this experiment. We, the parents of America, need to rise up and tell the little children, the selfish, ne'er-do-well, derelict children who believe they can protest anything they damn well wish, that they can be triggered by any little thing, that they can make excuses for doing absolutely nothing to benefit this great country, but that they can try to tear it apart. We, the parents, we, the people, have to rise up. Enough is enough. I was absolutely astonished over the weekend to read that socialist students at Arizona State University are demanding of the university that Kyle Rittenhouse be withdrawn from campus life in general. Now, he's an online student right now, so that makes it a little even more questionable. The outrage that these socialist wackos at Arizona State University who want to protest, Don't let him back on campus. Well, here's a newsflash for you. He's not been on campus. But way to not do your homework. Way to just be outraged by the headlines. And way to look like morons. All under what? These are the same people who triumph the destruction of Confederate statues, who I guarantee you don't know much at all about the Civil War. These are the people who want to rewrite America's history, though I guarantee you either never took history classes or failed out of them. These are the people beating their chests, the socialist students. You know what? If you want to be a socialist in the United States of America, I have news for you. Get out, because we're not interested in your outrage. We're not interested in your redistribution of wealth. We're not interested in your dangerous policies that are ill-founded and that simply will never work. You are young. You are stupid. You are crybabies. And quite frankly, the rest of us are tired of cleaning up your messes. Did you guys pay attention to what happened over the holiday weekend? Nothing says Thanksgiving like looting, like pillaging stores, terrorizing workers and shoppers, all because you feel it is owed you for whatever stupid reason you feel victimized. This is a direct result of ineffective Democrat policies, of dangerous, ineffective Democrat policies, which allow, in California, you go ahead. You go shoplift. As long as it's under $1,000, take whatever the hell you want. What could possibly go wrong there? Do you guys see this? What started last week as these coordinated flash mobs, dozens of cars, 80 cars in one instance, gridlocking outside of a mall. And then these criminals, let's call them what they are, these criminal thugs who do nothing to benefit anybody, but are destructive and are allowed to get away with it because they know they'll never be prosecuted. Go into stores, smash windows, terrorize people, steal whatever the hell they want, and then get back in their cars scot-free. See you later. What a fine example California is. What a fine prosecutorial example California is, giving carte blanche to any criminal thug loser who believes it's their right to go take what they did not earn. It's time the parents start issuing the discipline. I remember being young, and I remember being a dope in high school and breaking several rules and having teachers or the principal call home to tell my parents about my behavior. There was no conversation about who was right and who was wrong. The teacher, the adult was right. I was wrong. Now we've got these helicopter trophy parent families where children run amok. There is no discipline. And so what do we have? We have a generation of college crybabies who demand things. How about the demands from this particular group of socialists at Arizona State University, who of course don't pay attention to the fact that Kyle Rittenhouse was completely exonerated, found not guilty on all of the 5 counts against him. Because last time I checked in rational common sense America, when somebody aims a gun at your face that's loaded or starts beating you with a skateboard, you have a right to self-defense. Ooh, that pushes up against their narrative. They want to elevate the thugs, the criminals, the pedophile who Kyle Rittenhouse shot and killed that night in self-defense. But don't worry about a jury of peers spending more than 3 days deliberating every nuance of those charges. Nope. These socialist students, God bless them, God bless their hearts. Students for Socialism ASU, join us and rally against racist murderer Kyle Rittenhouse being permitted on our campus. Says who? Wednesday at 3:30 outside the Nelson Fine Arts Center on campus. Ooh, Arizona State University better be really careful about where they allow such a rally to take place. Really careful. Because the parents of this country have had enough. The demands of this socialist group of crybabies who've done nothing to improve anything for anybody in America. 1, withdraw Kyle Rittenhouse from ASU. Oh, we'd better get right on that. 2, release a statement against white supremacy and racist murderer Kyle Rittenhouse. Do you guys have any, I'm sure you do, how racist and inflammatory this rhetoric is? Not to mention slanderous, libelous. Number 3, reaffirm support for the Multicultural Center on campus as a safe space from white supremacy. Oh, while we're at it, why don't we just ask for free tuition? Surprised they didn't think of that. And number 4, redirect funding from Arizona State University's police department to support the Multicultural Center and establishment of a care center on campus, which I'm sure is some crybaby left-wing, do-nothing beneficial for anybody group. And there we are, ladies and gentlemen. There we are. I've had enough. If your child is part of this and you're not dismantling this at home, you are to blame for what happens next. It is on your hands. This is inexcusable. And if Arizona State University was worth its salt, and God knows if it is, they would come out so loudly, so strongly, in a show of force against crybabies like this. And they would say, no more. Enough is enough. What is going to be the final straw? What is the tipping point? Is it somebody getting stabbed outside of a Best Buy in Houston? Is it a security guard? An Asian security guard getting shot and killed while protecting the property of a store? When will enough be enough? It's not enough when a guy who obviously hates people plows into a Christmas parade, and then Black Lives Matter starts a fundraiser, a $5 million fundraiser to bail him out. This is where we are, ladies and gentlemen. Make no mistake. All of these smokescreens, however, are distractions meant to take your eye off of a bigger story. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Jennifer writes, at the beginning of my journey with Advanced Integrative Medical 360, I was feeling really off. I felt my hormones were off. My mood was constantly changing. I had low energy. I was always tired. I even had issues sleeping. 60 days later, I'm 20 pounds lighter, full of energy. My moods are stable, and I get a great night's sleep. Dr. Dubiak and his entire staff have provided amazing support and knowledge to keep me on track and help me over the hurdles. I now live a new, healthier lifestyle, and I couldn't be happier. There's a reason I talk glowingly about Advanced Integrative Medical 360, Pittsburgh's #1 hormone weight loss center that offers complete hormone lab testing for $199. They offer this in 47 states. Get on the path to healing and happiness and hope. Pick up the phone, make your appointment now, 412-227-9255. IntegrativeMedical360.com. They can change your life. All right, when we come back, let's do a little round robin of who stole what. Who won't get punished for this brazen act of thuggery and criminality? And who's making excuses for it? It's not me. You're listening to the Wendy Bell Radio program. Back right after this.
So make sure you tell me when we're going with. You want the new.
Yeah. You guys get where I'm going with this, right? I mean, this is not rocket science. This is all by design. Okay? All by design. The more chaos, the more we fight, the more they get away with whatever the hell they're doing. Make no mistake about it. Do not doubt me.
I got to get used to having this new mouse.
Oh, I'm so glad. Happy birthday.
Yeah. Wow.
You know?
Regifting, I see.
Ha ha ha. No regifting. I had an extra and you deserved it.
Yeah. It's got a scratch in it.
Does it?
Yeah.
Has it been loved or thrown against the wall?
Right. Probably thrown
against the wall.
After you forget to charge it,
you son of a mother.
Our voice guy's fantastic.
Oh, I love him.
I love that he listens.
I love him. He is just
Thank you,
outstanding.
Kelly, because you're obviously watching. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, the team that we have assembled is second to none. I truly am so excited. And we're going to be off. We're going to be talking to you guys about the app, about new content we're going to be providing that I think is exceedingly beneficial.
That is not political driven.
Not at all. It is the ultimate unifier of humanity.
Unless you're Tony Fauci.
That's a good point.
Yes, he called him an evil dwarf. Like that. All right, here we go.
So I think it's important and prudent for us to dive into the wacko, derelict thought process of these socialist students at Arizona State University who desperately don't want the murdering Kyle Rittenhouse back on campus. Don't let it get in the way, of course, that he's an online student. We wouldn't want to get that in the way of your emotion. Oh. This is what they write. Even with a not guilty verdict from a flawed justice system, justice in air quotes, I want you to think for a minute. These ne'er-do-wells believe that justice is only justice when they agree with the outcome. Are you out of your mind, you crybaby, bubble-wrapped morons? Even with a not guilty verdict from a flawed justice system, Kyle Rittenhouse is still guilty to his victims and the families of those victims. How about the families of the victims those two miscreants terrorized themselves? The felons. How about the children who were sexually assaulted by one of them? Are these really the eggs in the basket that you're going to put your socialist stones into? Really? Join us to demand from ASU that these demands be met to protect students from a violent, bloodthirsty murderer. Ladies and gentlemen, not only do we have a disconnect, we have a deranged element. A loser, jagoff, deranged element. And it's being bred at our universities. Our universities are these petri dishes. Forget expanding your brain. Forget about collaboration. Forget about learning new things. No, college is where you become militarized. College is where you become indoctrinated into the miscreant ne'er-do-well philosophies of socialism. Wow. This is rich. Meanwhile, at stores all across America, let's just go through your laundry list of people who've broken the law and terrorized fellow Americans. Best Buy stores looted in Burnsville and Maplewood, Minnesota over the weekend. $30,000 worth of stuff taken from a sunglass hut in Monterey, California. Tools stolen from Home Depot in Lakewood, California. A Foot Locker in Chicago, Illinois, looted. Nordstrom handbag section looted in Canoga Park, California. $25,000 worth of stuff taken. A security guard shot and killed. A man stabbed to death outside of Best Buy in Houston. San Francisco, Louis Vuitton and Yves Saint Laurent ransacked to the tune of $100,000 to $200,000. The Nordstrom there. Totaled. Lululemon in San Jose ransacked. $40,000. What the hell? Why have a job? Government pays you to sit on your duff. Don't be a productive member of society. We'll pay you to create chaos and madness and mayhem so we, the elite, can continue doing all of the awful things that we're doing, like pushing something that's not a vaccine on children under the guise of safety and science. If you can tell I'm a little fired up, this is the exact makings of the left. This is the people that leftists put in office or who steal office because they know they can't win on their own. How do you like this look, ladies and gentlemen? You're liking the feel of America today? You're feeling really proud to be an American? You look at your liberal friends, you've got the signs in their yard. Really? You're down with all of this. Is that so? Because I'm not. The parents of this country have failed in their job. The number one job you can have is to make sure your kid doesn't grow up to be a crazy person. Well, failure all across the fruited plain. Yes, I'm fired up. Wait till you hear what Levi's has put up. What? Don't go anywhere. I'm going to give you 3 hours of the best programming you've ever had today, and it starts again coming up right after this. Deep breaths now for me to be able to talk to you guys about one of my sponsors who I really dig. I really like talented people who are highly trained and certified at what they do, who are, whether it's Advanced Integrative Medical 360, whether it's Dr. Rafferty, thank you. Whether it's the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh, whether it's the Simkovich Concussion Institute, whatever, whether it's Ireland Contracting. When you've got somebody who's coming into your house to crawl up your chimney, to look inside your chimney to make sure it's safe, that there's no breaks in the liner that could cause your house to catch fire, that makes sure that the damper works, that all of the mechanisms inside, that the firebox is appropriately pointed, that the crown on the top is taken care of, that critters haven't gotten in and possibly built something on top so that carbon monoxide is not appropriately escaping. I mean, you put your family's lives in the hands of these kinds of experts. And that's why I'm so proud to talk to you about Piccadilly Chimney. I really think these folks at Piccadilly Chimney Sweeps are second to none, the best in southwestern Pennsylvania. They serve Allegheny, Beaver, and Washington counties. Every certified Piccadilly Chimney Sweep goes through an extensive certification process. These folks know what they're doing, and they are the best. So if you haven't had your chimney inspected, cleaned, the whole machinations of it examined for a while, you owe it to yourself and to the people you love to call. Call Piccadilly Chimney Sweeps. Here's the number, 412-221-0196. Go to piccadillychimney.com. Tell them the Wendy Bell Radio Show sent you. They are fantastic people.
And you gave fake news again.
Oh, no.
It is not my birthday. So I appreciate everybody saying happy birthday, but it's not my birthday.
His birthday's December 12th. He's got lots of time. Happy birthday, Brock.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. The magic mouse that I gave him as a regifted, here you go. I lied to him.
Re-gifted.
Yeah. I lied and said, this is for your birthday. I am fired up.
Well, we were both kind of fired up this morning at 4:30. How many times you get to think we'll play the new variant? I'm thinking at least 7 or 8 more times.
You know what? And we're going to do that here coming out. Okay. I love Kelly.
The fact that it could play multiple more times. You're really going to like what I ordered you. And I'm going to be honest, I only got it because it was on sale.
Spoken like a true man.
Well, I didn't want you to think I went out and spent all this money. I just saw it and I was like, I would have bought it at that price, but it's on sale. I kind of have to buy it.
By the way, Jason.
Yes. Ryan didn't steal it.
He didn't find the glitter to be manly enough. So he said, Mom, I
Does
think
he
it's
want
beautiful. No, he doesn't want yours. Why does he want yours?
I ordered 2 more.
Well, you can have yours. I love it.
I feel bad. We're almost out too.
It's got enough zhuzh for me. I live in a very masculine world. Having a little glitter does me right. I love it. All right, let's rock. Let's talk Omicron, shall we? So stupid. I'm now dumber just because we're talking about it. Greedy, greedy, greedy. They are so greedy.
I kind of tuned out all weekend.
I didn't. I had to flit in and out though, because if you spend too much time then you have a monologue like I had, where I literally needed to take my pulse and do deep breathing.
I like the fact that I pulled over to help a gentleman on Saturday, and he complained that he doesn't get the live alerts from Wendy Bell Radio anymore.
I feel you, brother. They're trying to thwart us at every pass.
And he didn't know who I was.
Right. How did that come up? You just were like, so.
Well,
he asked you what you did, and you said you were in radio?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he's like, do I listen to what you do? I was like, I don't know. It's talk radio. Because, I do listen to talk radio. He's like, who do you work with? And then it's that odd awkward, oh no, do I say.
He works at Fabulous. Fabulous!
And I told him, he's like, no kidding. And he's like, I don't get the alerts anymore. I'm like, did you download the app? He's like, no. I'm like,
Well.
I can't help you, my man. So as his car sat there, not moving, he downloaded the app.
Brock coming in and helping somebody on a snowy night. It's a good man. You know, this is a great reminder. If you have yet to do so, please, we invite you to download the Wendy Bell Radio Network app. It is free. Every show exists there. You can go back at your leisure if there's something you want to hear again. It's not Facebook, which means we're safe no matter what. We always broadcast live there. All of the BS boards live there, all of our merchandise, and we're going to have some new content that we're going to be providing for you. It's very exciting, and we'll be talking about that here in just a little bit. So did you guys hear about this? This is big, big news, Brock. Oh, no.
This is a new variant alert.
Dun, 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 dun. Yes, Omicron, ladies and gentlemen. Sure, Delta wore out its welcome. They could only beat that dead horse so many times, right? Omicron, which, if you scramble the letters, thanks to Jason for telling me this, you get the word moronic. There you go. Do you need to know anything else about the Omicron variant? Why we passed Chi, which is XI, which is she. There we go. We wouldn't want to offend China's main Grand Hierophant leader. We're a bunch of suckers in the United States. Our government is a bunch of suckers. Sellout suckers. Facts. So here we go. We've got this big, oh my goodness, the new governor of New York with no cases there she's declared a state of emergency. That's not a little overkill. Don't tell me this isn't about pushing mail-in voting 100%. They've got their eyes on 2022. Joe Biden is in free fall. He's the fat guy in the pool doing the big belly flop. He's down. He's at the bottom of the pool. He's scrounging to get double digits of support anywhere he can get it. Don't tell me that this isn't manufactured. And then here's the interesting part. Well, hell, it's got to be really very serious. I mean, a new variant, breaking news for our lackey news media who don't know how to do anything with any kind of credibility ever again. We glom onto this and beat this until it's submitted to into, whatever. Must be really bad. I'm nervous. Well, let's go out to South Africa, where the woman, the physician who started finding this, and how did it present to her? Well, it wasn't people dropping dead on her steps of her medical center. People were coming in and they were like, I kind of have a scratchy throat. It's not necessarily sore, but it's kind of scratchy. Wow, breaking news. Let's shut down everything. Let's hear how serious this is, according to the woman who first discovered the moronic variant, Omicron. Go.
Looking at the mildness of the symptoms that we are seeing, currently there's no reason for panicking as we don't see severely ill patients. I also checked with the hospitals, some of the hospitals in my area. And one of the biggest hospitals, they only have one patient currently that's COVID positive on a ventilator, and they don't even know whether it's COVID, it's Delta or whether it is Omicron related. We acknowledge that it might change going forward. But the hype that's been created currently out there in the media and worldwide doesn't correlate with the clinical picture. And it doesn't warrant to just cut us off from any traveling and ban South Africa as if we are the villains in the whole process. It should not be like that.
Wait, let me get this straight. So it's not serious. They've got one person in the hospital on a ventilator with COVID, but they don't know what kind. So they really can't jump to conclusions. It doesn't look like this is really tragic, according to her. And it's only exacerbated by the media. Bing, 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 bing. There you go. So Joe Biden decides on Friday to restrict travel from South Africa, from Botswana, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Lesotho, Eswatini, Mozambique, and Malawi starting today. Remember, let's have a flashback, a Joe Biden, candidate Biden flashback about the abysmal leadership of then President Trump deciding to close off our border when COVID became a thing. How awful. Let's just remember what he said back then, shall we?
In moments like this is where the credibility of the president is most needed, as he explains what we should and should not do. This is no time for Donald Trump's record of hysterical xenophobia, and fear-mongering.
He was boring to listen to back then. And yet we're told 81 million people thought he was the one we needed. Right. Okay. So Trump is xenophobic. He's hysterical. Yes? Huh. This is very intriguing. This is what Nancy Pelosi tweeted when Donald Trump decided to issue that travel ban. This is on January 31st of 2020. The Trump admin's expansion of its un-American travel ban is a threat to our security, our values, and the rule of law. Oh, because you know what? It's a matter of law that we let anybody into our country willy-nilly. Right. Thank God she's the Speaker of the House. Barring more than 350 million people from predominantly African countries from traveling to the U.S., this rule is discrimination disguised as policy. Well, how do you like Joe Biden now, Nance? Or is this different? Is Omicron different? You know, Omicron that creates the scratchy throat where we don't really know anything about it, except the media is going to try to hawk it for all it's worth. How do you like him now, Nance? Joe Biden, on March 12th of last year. A wall will not stop the coronavirus. Banning all travel from Europe or any other part of the world will not stop it. This disease could spread to every nation and any person on the planet, and we need a plan to combat it. Joe, your plan is really working out here. Let me see. More people have died under your purview than they did under Donald Trump. Wow, you're killing it. And only to be outdone by the ever successful Kamala Harris. On the first day of February last year, Trump's extended un-American travel ban undermines our nation's core values. It is clearly driven by hate, not security. Where are these three people now? Oh, that's right. They're all supporting a travel ban from South Africa. For what? For what, ladies and gentlemen? So interesting to hear Dr. Doom over the weekend, who clearly knows he's sinking. He's a rock in the water. More than half of Americans don't trust him. More than half of Americans think he's guilty of doing gain-of-function jazz at Wuhan. And by the way, a fair number of us know very well that coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2, wasn't just something that happened to pop up in January of 2020. The machinations of this, ladies and gentlemen, have been going on for decades. There's a reason 73 or more specific elements of the SARS-CoV-2 thing had been patented before SARS-CoV-2 was a thing. Coincidence? Not a chance. Please. Asked about natural immunity by Sanjay Gupta, who's trying to save face, which Joe Rogan apparently chewed off when he appeared on his program, and said to Sanjay Gupta, why are people calling me a liar? Why are people saying that when I said I used ivermectin and I got better, that I'm some kind of a farce? Well, I don't know, said Sanjay Gupta, the chief medical correspondent for CNN. So sitting with Anderson Cooper, the zero in the middle, with Dr. Doom on the left and Sanjay on the right, Sanjay's asking Dr. Doom over the weekend, well, what about natural immunity? You know, that thing that 100 million Americans had before the end of 2020? Do we really need to force an experimental elixir on people who've already had the virus? How do you respond to that, sir?
So as we talk about vaccine mandates, I get calls all the time. People say, I've already had COVID. I'm protected. And now the study says maybe even more protected than the vaccine alone. Should they also get the vaccine? How do you make the case to them?
You know, that's a really good point, Sanjay. I don't have a really firm answer for you on that. That's something that we're going to have to discuss regarding the durability of the response.
What? Brock, you were just signaling me. What did you need?
You were still not being able to hear.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I beg your pardon. So we need to study the durability of natural immunity. Don't you think that should have been job number one? And by the way, it has been job number one. I can give you right now more than 20 individual studies that show your natural, robust, perfect immune system response to COVID-19 is way better than rolling the dice on something that, by the way, you know as well as I, you're in a phase 3 clinical trial of. Does it alarm anybody out there that as the FDA, the CDC, all these people who stand to make a killing in profit off of plunging needles into the arms of 5-year-olds, does it bother anybody out there that we won't have the real results in children until the year 2026? That we won't know for 5 full years what this thing does to the bodies of children. You want to offer your child up on the altar of Tony Fauci science? Be my guest. But I've got a very interesting article I can't wait to read to you guys. Naturally immune people at little risk of reinfection. Do you think Tony Fauci, Mr. Science, would like to read any of these things that go completely contrary to his demand that the only option, the only solution in his science world is you getting a jab? We'll talk about this. Curious how there's one way or the highway. My memory, my recollection of science is it's not black and white. Shoot, we can't even agree anymore that there's only 2 sexes, for God's sakes. But we're to be told that there's only one solution to this virus, and this solution is for you to acquiesce to their request, because you doing so further enriches them. Facts. Dr. Charles Simkovich and his staff at the Simkovich Concussion Institute. Wow. I think about having such a meaningful career. I couldn't think of much more meaning than taking somebody's injured brain from a concussion or traumatic brain injury, something that's happened, and fixing what's wrong with it. Healing that structure, that delicate structure that controls every aspect of you and your personality and how you live. To be an expert of that organ and to give people life back and hope. And that's what the Simkovich Concussion Institute does. There's a reason people come in from all over the planet to meet with Dr. Charles Simkovich, because most of his patients see relief of their symptoms as their brains begin to heal in less than a week. Do yourself a favor, roll the dice, pick up the phone. You've got nothing to lose. Make that appointment. 412-366-3700. Dr. Charles Simkovich. See how he can help you. Go to SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. Look, ladies and gentlemen, if you're one of the hundreds of millions of Americans who've already had COVID, don't you think this is important information? Why aren't they asking about these studies? You know why. I'm going to read it to you when we come back. This is very important information for you moving forward. You're listening to the Wendy Bell Radio program. Back right after this.
I mean, you're fired up still.
Man, when you try to mess with kids,
I agree.
you lose me. I will fight you till the bitter end.
It's like me and animals.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is, you know what, why don't you tell them about what you're excited to bring to the Wendy Bell Radio Network app? Because I think it's wonderful and it's completely perfect.
Yeah. So I talked to a friend of mine who is pretty well known. His name's Dr. Mike Hutchinson. So
He's a veterinarian.
he's a vet. We're going to do just a show. We're going to try it one weekend. I'll let you know. We're going to do the show right here, just like Wendy and I do. And he's going to take your questions. So if you're wondering about your animals, he's absolutely a great human being, first and foremost.
Oh, he's such
But
a
he's
man.
such
a
a
nice man.
compassionate
Yeah.
man. That,
Look, there's one
he
thing
takes care of all my dogs.
we can agree on our love of our pets.
Yes.
And to be able to talk to somebody free and to say, you know what, I'm kind of concerned about this, and this guy has seen it all, and have him be able to tell you, you know what, this is what I want you to do. You're going to get this, you're going to do that. Or to just assuage your fears. Holy moly.
Yeah, he's gonna.
And he's a lovely human being.
And he does a lot of homeopathic type of stuff too. He's not really into
prescriptions. Right.
He does do that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But like my dog got an ear infection, and he gave me a thing of mixed vinegar and alcohol, parts it out. Within a couple days, it was gone. So it's
little things that we can
He
be
cares.
doing. Yes.
you know.
And I don't know how your dog is, your dogs are, but Murphy does not like going to the vet. You know, I just don't.
My dogs don't. And
Well, because they probably love Dr. Mike.
my dog, because he's really nice.
Right. No. If you can avoid having to go and you can ask a question of a veterinarian who's super good at what he does.
Yeah.
So we're going to try that. And I
Yeah,
think it's
and
going
let
to be
us know
fun.
if you're interested in that before I invest time into it.
Danielle loves it. Thank you. I love that too. Kathy likes the idea as well.
Good. He's pumped about it too. And he's a conservative. Here we go.
Bonus. You know, I find it so interesting that Dr. Fauci, who wraps himself in science as though that's a blanket thing that makes him untouchable. He's ascended to some godlike, you know, pinnacle where he is untouchable. And it's all under this auspice of science. You know, science is an ever-evolving thing. Science is based on collaboration. It's based on many minds working in concert but separately to move the needle so that we understand more, so that we can treat people more effectively, not so we can be addicts of the FDA, not so we can be dependent upon more shots, more drugs, and enrich big pharma more. It's about collaboration. There is no collaboration when it comes to natural immunity, which is a huge, huge tip-off. Naturally immune people at little risk of reinfection or severe disease from COVID-19 in a study. People who have recovered from COVID-19 are at little risk of contracting the disease again, according to a study published last week. Researchers in Qatar examined a cohort of over 353,000 people using national databases that contain information about patients with polymerase chain reaction confirmed infections. Probably pronounced that wrong, but bear with me. I'm not a scientist. The studied population contracted COVID-19, the disease caused by, obviously, the Communist Party virus, between February 28, 2020 and April 28th of 2021, so about 14 months. Reinfections were counted if a person tested positive at least 90 days after their first infection. After excluding approximately 87,500 people with a vaccination record, researchers found that those with immunity due to having recovered from COVID-19 had little risk of reinfection or severe cases of the disease. Just 1,304 reinfections were identified. That means a 0.4% of people with natural immunity and without a vaccination record getting COVID-19 a second time. Ladies and gentlemen, 1,304 people out of several 100,000. The odds of severe disease were 0.1 times that of primary infection, according to the study. Just 4 such cases were detected. So not only after you've had and recovered from COVID are you less likely to get it again, you are infinitesimally less likely to have a severe case. 1 or 4 cases. No cases of death were recorded among those who got infected a second time. Do you ever wonder why these sorts of studies are never seemingly done here in the United States? Why do we have to go to Qatar? Why is it that one of the largest states of India, Uttar Pradesh, can mobilize tens of thousands of volunteers to knock on 245 million doors and prophylactically treat people with a special medical kit that if you have a fever, if you test positive for COVID, take this, and this, including ivermectin, take zinc, take an antibiotic, take vitamin C, vitamin D. Here's some ibuprofen. Here's hand sanitizer and some gloves, a couple masks. And lo and behold, in 90 days, a population of 245 million people sees its COVID positivity rate drop by 97% and its death rate drop by 99.1%. Why is it that India can do what the United States refuses to do? Money, money, money. There is no money in you being well. There's money in you being fat. There's money in you smoking. There's money in you being a diabetic. There's money in you making poor lifestyle decisions. Money, money, money. Proof. Why can't Dr. Doom admit that natural immunity is the way to go? Because that means Dr. Doom doesn't get so much of your money. When we come back, some interesting sound bites from the alleged president. You're listening to the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Ooh, we've got a new sponsor. You ready?
Do you want me to hit it or?
Oh, yes.
Kelly luckily made us a sounder. Really
I
fast.
love
Let me
it.
see. Here we go.
And now, Wendy Bell welcomes a new sponsor.
I love it. And I'm particularly excited to welcome this new sponsor to the Wendy Bell Radio program.
Me too.
This is very important to both Brock and me because it's a place that is special to us both. More so for you because you're a member.
Right.
We have a beautiful golf course and country club here in southwestern Pennsylvania called Nemacolin Country Club. And they are offering something that I think is exceedingly unique for any time of year, let alone now. This is outstanding. Go ahead and drop it.
It's the half price. Half price.
You can join Nemacolin Country Club for 50% off for a limited time. Now, I have played as a guest of both Brock and our mutual friend Andy Amrine a couple times there. My husband has played. It is one of the most beautiful golf courses I've ever played. It is the greens, the attention to detail. It's challenging, but it's not daunting as a woman. I still suck at it, but it's
you're still pretty bad.
I'm terrible, but it's beautiful. And it's this oasis. And as a member, tell them about what it's like to be a member of Nemacolin Country Club.
It's affordable. Well, first and foremost, it's affordable. And that's what's great about it.
Family oriented.
Yeah. Kate and I will go out for dinner. The prices are great, to be honest with you.
Nice people. Every time I've been there, I've been in a couple golf outings, and everybody is so nice. They're so excited that you're there.
And when
There's
Joe
a
came,
pool, it's gorgeous.
When Joe came, more people came up to Joe.
Yeah. Because several of his patients were golfing in this particular outing, and they thought that was wonderful.
That was just a random Sunday we went.
Oh, yeah.
They came up to Joe, and I said, man, you know more people than I do because they're all patients.
It's an award-winning golf course. This is 4 years in a row that they've won an award. And the pro shop, the staff, they're responsive. They're great. The locker rooms are great. The food is good. So anyway, Nemacolin Country Club. Join the club for 50% off your dues. Go online to nemacolin.org to request membership information, or you can call Amy. And you can call her at 724-632-3300, extension 5. Obviously, tell her the Wendy Bell Radio program sent you. One more time, 724-632-3300. Half off is a steal.
I asked if I could quit and rejoin. I was told no.
No.
That's for new members.
Well, we're excited to have them. So thank you to Nemacolin for advertising here. We're delighted to have you.
And that's what I got for Christmas last year.
That's right.
That was my Christmas gift last year from my wife.
Outstanding.
And if you join, it'll give me someone else to golf with.
True.
Yeah, I'm always looking for people to golf with. Wendy always tells me no.
Oh, shut up.
And Joe I somehow always pick the weekends where Joe's on call.
This is true.
Thanks, Brenda. Brenda says, aren't you pretty? Oh, I'm sorry, petty.
Oh, my gosh.
I'll take pretty instead. Well, actually, he says, aren't you? So I'm assuming he was talking to you. If it was pretty, I was going to take credit for it. You know?
Valerie brings up a very interesting point to follow Dr. David Martin, and I agree implicitly with her. Dr. David Martin, I've had him. I believe we've had him on the show, but we've also talked about several of his findings. He goes back. I watched a 55-minute video over the weekend where he goes back in time and tells you about the true origin of COVID and the players. And there's a PowerPoint that he has that I want to locate to share with you guys. And I think is really important. am fussy.
You're allowed to be. You tell them about the guests we have?
You know what? We do have a wonderful guest coming up at 10:30. His name is Martin Hyde, and he is a father of 4 sons in Sarasota, Florida. And we had him on the show about a year ago when they were organizing. He was coordinating with a bunch of other people. He's endorsed by Mike Flynn and Roger Stone. He's running for Congress from Florida, but he was an outspoken parent at school board meetings regarding masking and other mandates of his sons. And he really exposed the ridiculousness of what's going on with so many of these school boards that believe they rule with iron fists. And so he's decided to get even more involved. They actually started a drive for people to get medical exemptions, and thousands of people turned up to try to get medical exemptions because of this vaccine mandate. He's going to be joining us because there's a community hospital there that is going to be putting the squeeze on people who don't get the jab, and it's going to impact the neighborhood in a big way.
All right, here we go.
Using facts to take on the woke politicians, triggered leftists, and the corporate media.
You just got to try harder not to suck.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, you're listening to the Wendy Bell radio program.
I know I'm not alone when I say this to you, and it's a big statement. I am tired of the good guy coming in last. I'm tired of good people who get up and work hard every day, do their jobs, don't complain, follow the rules, pay their taxes, love their children. I'm tired of us losing. It's time good things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people. Because last time I checked, there are a hell of a lot of bad people out there. And they seem to be excused for their malevolent actions wherever they go. I'm done. I'm tired of people like Dr. Doom telling us that this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. Stuff it. We know for a fact it's not. I'm tired of liberal politicians in liberal states giving a pass to criminals, allowing them to just go and do whatever they want with no consequence. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of people like Kyle Rittenhouse and Nicholas Sandmann and Aaron Rodgers and Joe Rogan and a laundry list of other people, and America's frontline doctors, and anyone who dares not be an angry, malignant leftist. I'm tired of these good people being vilified. How dare students demand that another student not have the same rights as they? How dare they say the justice system didn't work? How dare you? And yet this is where we are. Enough. You see what's going on in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly hate, apparently, where they're well on track. Well, they've already surpassed last year's entire homicide record. You guys check the homicide and violent crime rates in your favorite blue city near you? It's not looking good, folks. This whole philosophy of kowtowing to criminals and allowing people to just willy-nilly break the law and kill each other. It's amazing. If Black lives ever mattered, this stuff would stop now. I encourage anyone out there to let me know, what Black life has Black Lives Matter helped? How much money have they ever given? What school have they benefited? What family life have they contributed to? What policy have they done? Any change that has made life for anybody better? Have they contributed to our nation's illiteracy problem? Do they talk about the elephant in the room, the lack of fathers in their children's lives, the whole breakup of the family unit, the okaying of criminality, the lack of punishment or prosecution, the excuse making as though you're a victim today for something that happened years ago that has absolutely nothing to do with you? Philadelphia's mayor blames everyone but criminals for record homicides. Are you guys familiar with Cam Edwards? He's a delightful orator. He's a great columnist. He writes for BearingArms.com. I've seen him multiple times speaking, be it on Capitol Hill or being a speaker regarding Second Amendment issues. When you blame guns for violence and not the criminals who pull the trigger, you're the problem, which is why so much of my ire settles squarely on the left side of the political landscape. With more than a month to go, my friends, Philadelphia has already reached last year's homicide number, 499 murders. And it's no question the city will likely set a new record for murders, probably did over the Thanksgiving holiday. Last Wednesday, the city's gutless mayor, Jim Kenney, what a piece of work this man is, pointed the finger at gun makers, gun owners, and Republican lawmakers for the city's sky-high homicide rate. Again, the leftist strategy, blame everybody else. The only person they're not blaming is Donald Trump, which is unusual because we certainly know the left's affinity for the Holy Trinity. Without ever once talking about the criminals pulling the trigger and the city's DA, who's prosecuting far fewer violent crimes. Let's work on this together. When you emasculate the police, when you demonize the police, when you downsize and defund the police, there are fewer police officers to do the job. Criminals are not stupid. They're also not law-abiding gun owners. So any of these crazed leftist arguments for stricter gun control laws, where are some of the most strict gun control laws in America, ladies and gentlemen? Chicago, Illinois. How's that working for them? I haven't gotten the weekend holiday brush up of homicides and shooting data yet, but you can bet your bottom dollar it was over 50 in Lori Lightfoot's Democrat-run city. God forbid we should blame the criminal who's pulling the trigger. We need to go after the gun makers. We have too many guns on the street. We need people to return their guns. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you, and I know it's correct, that if more law-abiding citizens were able to conceal carry, so much of the jazz that happens around us would stop like that. Period. Because you know what somebody who goes and gets a gun lawfully is not usually going to do with it? Break the law. Because there's a record of them. There's a criminal background check. Serial numbers are known. You're in a database. Who doesn't follow those rules? Oh, that's right. Criminals. Now, either Jim Kenney is a moron, which is probably arguable, or he knows damn well what's going on in his community. I'm personally heartbroken, he says, and outraged that we lost 500 Philadelphians, including many of our children and teenagers, to needless violence this year, he said. I never stop thinking about the victims and their families. Oh, baloney. You pandering political hack. I never stop thinking about them. Right. And the incredible loss these senseless deaths leave behind. The Democrat, Kenney, called for tighter gun laws to combat the scourge of gun deaths and crimes. Because, that's going to fix it. Because tighter gun laws are going to prevent the people from breaking into people's homes and stealing their firearms. It's going to prevent the sale of those weapons on the street. Right. Brilliance, Mr. Kenney. The second-term mayor said the Philadelphia Police Department is expected to remove over 6,000 crime guns this year. What is a crime gun? Is that like the crime vehicle that plowed into the Christmas parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin? It was a criminal vehicle. It acted on its own. There was not a perpetrator, a black supremacist behind the wheel. That doesn't fit the narrative, of course, of your deranged left media. Crime guns. We're going to remove 6,000 crime guns. Ladies and gentlemen, Philadelphia doesn't stand a flippin' shot with people like this in charge. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about Black lives. He doesn't care. And he does not think, I think all the time, I can't stop thinking about the victim. Baloney. Baloney. Do you know who could talk some sense into Mayor Kenney? Maj Toure, of the same city, the founder of Black Guns Matter, who's been on this program multiple times, who travels America and specifically goes into Black and brown urban areas to talk about responsible gun ownership. Because there's no greater deterrent than somebody with a firearm, a defensive firearm lawfully owned in their home when somebody wants to break in. Do you know how you stop crime? You become a responsible defensive firearm owner. And this is what this Black man, Maj Toure, does. Travels America to teach other Black people. This is what this gun is all about. This is how you use it. These are your firearms classes. This is how you get certified. Here's how you can find affordable ammunition. Here's a certified trainer. It's not gun laws that are going to solve the problem. It's punishing the guilty who pull the trigger. But this is your upside down land. This is the world according to Democrats, leftist, socialist, Marxist, communist Democrats. Don't ever be introspective. Don't ever take a look in the mirror and see what you've done that clearly is not working, Mayor Kenney. Instead, blame other people. Blame the guns, crime guns. It's like blaming the unvaccinated. We're not going to blame us, who pushed a dangerous narrative that science does not back up. We couldn't possibly come clean and tell you that this virus is 99.7% survivable in almost every age group. Nope. We can't come clean because then we can't control your behavior and we can't make the money. If you pay for your own health insurance, whether you're self-employed, maybe a gig worker, or you have a small staff of your own like I have, and you're trying to help them find affordable benefits. If that sounds like you, I want you to listen up because I want to tell you briefly about my friend Tom Yakupin. He works with the brand New Era Health Plans. He's brilliant when it comes to sitting down with people like you and figuring out what your insurance needs are so that you don't get clobbered by sky-high premiums, deductibles, and copays, so that by the time your insurance finally comes in, you're broke and can't afford it. Tom can save you 25 to 50%, oftentimes even more, simply by sitting down with you and going over your options. If that sounds like something that makes sense to you, if having an expert sit down and talk to you about your individual needs, your prescriptions, all of it makes sense to you, and it should, then you need to call this number, 724-230-4500. 724-230-4500. You can request a free quote online and a consultation with Tom by going to newerahealthplans.com. Tom Yakupin, newerahealthplans.com. All right, when we come back, interesting plunge of the stock market over the weekend. Ooh, the new Omicron variant. Everybody's worried about it. Listen to his sound when we come back. The ambivalence of the truly erudite and elite. Don't miss it. I've got it next on the Wendy Bell Radio program. I want to, what?
I was just going to say to Valerie, who asked on the stream, does Tom Yakupin work out of PA? Yes, he works out of PA, but he works in other states too. So I'll give him a call.
He's all across the United States. Yeah. And his guys, his workers are all over the place. They're really sensational. We both are huge fans of Tom's. We're also huge fans of Ireland Contracting, and I'd like to thank the Ireland family for sponsoring the Wendy Bell Radio program. We are deeply appreciative of that. Ireland Contracting, home exterior experts. So they're not going to do your kitchen or your bathroom. But if you need a new roof or you wanted to put in some skylights or your windows are kind of drafty, maybe you need some new siding, this is the company. They have Amish installers who are phenomenal craftsmen. They're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Angie's List, Guild Quality, and the Wendy Bell Radio program. And they're an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred dealer, which is a big deal. Owens Corning, this is the top 1% of their roofers. Ireland Contracting is in that very special select 1%. When you call, ask Diane, who will probably answer the phone at 1-800-NEW-ROOF about their new Owens Corning Bourbon color roofing product. It's beautiful, blues and browns. And when Gary comes out to give you an estimate, you're going to absolutely love his honesty and how he stands by his workmanship. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com, Ireland Contracting.
Did you say they were
A+ rated? Yes.
By the Wendy Bell Radio program?
I sure did. I sure did. I got a wonderful package over the weekend. More lip balm.
Oh.
From a man in Jeanette named Jeff. I believe it's Jeff. I have to write him a thank you note today. You guys are very perceptive and very nice. If you guys had seen my lips over the weekend, wow, it was tragic. I went shopping and wore a mask because it looked that bad. Ryan's like, just put on a mask. I was like, all right. I was grateful for the mask. I look like literally I'd been sucking on an iceberg.
Was it this mask is as useless as Tom Wolfe?
No. My lipstick is defiled the inside of that. Kind of gross. Defiled, yes. All right, so get ready. We're going to play that second half sound, the vax mandate.
Yep.
If you're cool with that.
Hey, I'm just here to assist Wendy Bell.
Well.
It is all about Wendy Bell. Wow.
Mm-hmm. 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 Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. Always an honor to spend 3 hours every Monday through Friday with you. So coming up in the next segment, I have a really interesting and important interview. We had Martin Hyde on the program from Sarasota, Florida, about a year ago. And Martin was an outspoken father of 4 sons who was going to his school board meeting to protest masking and shutdowns and other ridiculousness. And I think he really was one of the beginning voices of parental pushback, reclaiming the position of parents on school boards and inside our schools. And he's decided to run for Congress in Florida's 16th congressional district. He's running against a guy named Vern Buchanan. That is not why Martin Hyde is going to be on the program. Martin had organized a medical exemption drive in his Florida community. He had gotten together with, I think, America's Frontline Doctors, and they'd gotten a bunch of medical professionals together who had the forms to fill out for people who did not want to get the vaccine, whether they already had the virus, etc. Thousands of people showed up. It was way bigger than he thought. But he got in touch with me yesterday to tell me about something happening in Sarasota, where a hospital there, Sarasota Memorial, is openly defying Ron DeSantis's law pushing back against Joe Biden's vaccine mandate, saying under no circumstances in the state of Florida will you be mandated by your employer, regardless of the size of that company, to get a vaccine. Well, this Sarasota Memorial Hospital has decided to defy Ron DeSantis and is requiring the vaccine anyway. On the chopping block, ladies and gentlemen, 1,300 medical professionals. It will bring business at Sarasota Memorial Hospital to a decided halt. And if you don't believe that, I want you to listen to this story. New York, a New York town of 50,000, only ER had to close right before Thanksgiving because of the vaccine mandate. I want you to listen to what happens when someone like Joe Biden believes he is bigger than the law.
The temporarily closed sign went up late Monday afternoon outside of Long Beach's only emergency room, and it stunned some city residents.
With hardly any notice, this was thrust upon us in our community.
This civic leader calls it shameful. This facility sees 70,000 patients a year. It was shut down just hours after the hospital that runs it announced its closure.
I'm very concerned.
This Long Beach councilwoman fought back tears, worried, she says, that a city of 50,000 now has no ER. But Mount Sinai South Nassau Hospital blames New York's COVID vaccine mandate for this shutdown. The hospital says it lost 6 dozen healthcare employees today, all unvaccinated workers who had been allowed to stay on the job with a religious exemption. But New York's Department of Health withdrew those exemptions as of today, and that created a shortage of ER nurses here.
I'm disappointed. I think it's a great facility. My wife and daughter have been here.
Sal Giamalvo himself was among the last to be treated here today. Now concerned, he says, about having to drive 15 to 20 minutes to the closest ER that's 5 miles away in Oceanside.
I'd like to have a facility like this, convenient.
The city of Long Beach needs medical care, needs emergency care.
I want you to consider that. 72 people were displaced by that. 72 people, 6 dozen, the reporter said. I want you to think about 1,300 now. And let's roll the dice when we think about southern Florida, shall we? Aged population, primarily senior citizens, who are the people who need medical help. You're going to shut the door on 1,300 people as a medical facility, as a grandstanding to Joe Biden. Really? What is that going to look like? What is that going to do? And this is just the tip of the iceberg, ladies and gentlemen. Just the beginning. Do not miss this very pivotal interview with congressional candidate Martin Hyde coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Are you looking?
Thanks, Brock.
Yep, that's him.
Outstanding. So you're gonna have a new variant, right? All under the guise of slowing things down and forcing people to be scared to death so that they can only vote from home. What could go wrong with mail-in voting? Oh, I don't know. And then you're going to put the squeeze play on medical professionals so that hospitals and medical facilities in smaller towns and big towns have to shut down. Awesome. What could possibly go wrong? And by the way, I forgot to have you play Fauci's sound. It's too early to know if the lockdowns will be. How about somebody needs to cook that turkey and put it away. I'm done. I'm done.
You know, I talked to people over the weekend and asked what my opinion on if they would shut it down. I said, I think
People
one more
will go
shutdown
bananas.
would be the straw.
Oh yeah.
For even the people who are tolerating it to go, I'm done. This is it. It's enough. Obviously, the lockdowns, in your opinion, didn't work the first time. What's going to make them work the second time? I think logic will start to set in if they try a lockdown again. I think they're not going to do the lockdown because of that reason.
I think people will lose their ever-living shizzle.
Well, you think you're going to have a lot of small businesses going, you know what? You did it once. I'm going to roll the dice.
Mm-hmm. Ha. Wayne, the variant of the month club, right?
Can you meet Jason outside?
I can do that.
Please.
I'll be right back. Yes, sir.
I think you know, the WHO's saying lockdowns don't work. I think do a quick peruse of the internet and you can see Europe is just not having it. Australia, New Zealand, a lot of people are going against what the government thinks. And there's
That's great.
I don't know if we played the one piece of sound from the Australian health minister of the northern region.
Scary as nuts.
But
Scary
but
as
is it
nuts.
scary because it's already
No,
happened here?
I know.
Call the police and we'll look into it, or we'll take action. Well, you know, who am I to call the police on-
Coronavirus Contact Tracing Corps. That's what our lackey
I
government
got a hand
wanted.
gesture for that, but I don't know if I should use it.
Right. Well.
I'll do it off camera.
Right. I can imagine. There you go.
Yes.
I
right?
gotcha. I'm offended by it, but I
Of
gotcha.
course. I'll see you at HR.
That's right.
Down the steps you go.
Jason's looking good as the employee of the month.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dimitri voted for me like
I'm
12
just.
times that
You know
Did
what,
he?
you know what I'm
Smart.
just gonna say is
Smart.
let's test this theory for employee of the month.
Okay.
One day I won't come in.
Oh, and we'll see what happens.
See what happens. And one day Jason won't come in.
How about one day I don't
And
come in?
I'll make it work.
Wow. Listen to that. Listen to Mr. I'll make it happen.
I didn't say happen.
Mhm.
I said I'll make it work.
You'll make it work.
Which means there will be no dead air.
Mm-hmm.
And Jenny thinks Jenny's voting for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So does Shell. Wow, I appreciate that.
he does.
Russ, 2.5 viewers, significant increase over Friday's numbers. Friday was a holiday. Shell, come on.
We got the same numbers on Thanksgiving as Dimitri did on the day after,
Dimitri,
which was outstanding.
Listen, you guys are listeners, and I get it. Sometimes you don't like who fills in.
Jenny, don't
That's
suck
fine.
up to Brock.
That's
don't
fine.
suck up.
But as someone who's been in this business for
kidding.
23 years, Brock was extremely happy.
Ew, did you just speak in the third person again?
Yes,
I really
I know
dislike
you
that.
did.
It's just awful.
I was extremely happy with what he did. So
So was I. Oh, I promised Biden and I didn't give it to him. Lucky
Fake
you.
news.
Lucky you. We'll hit it at the end.
Kevin, you don't see the real numbers.
Haha. What are the real numbers? What do we have?
Well, no, Kevin said it went down to this. Kevin doesn't see the real numbers. He's only seeing Facebook numbers. I'm not trying to be confrontational.
I love that you guys are paying attention.
Yeah,
And then you're sharing and you're helping us get this out. So thank you. We're very grateful to you. Wow. 1,493 on the app. That is outstanding. This is our goal, is to move you guys, migrate you over from Facebook to the app.
All right, here we go.
It's our goal. I love you guys. You have no idea. Welcome back, everybody, to the Wendy Bell radio program. I kind of fell in love with Martin Hyde last year when I listened to him on video address his son's school board meeting. Now, Martin is a former professional soccer player, local business owner, father of 4 boys. But more than that, he's a lover of America. And I love a man who loves America the way I love America. Now, Martin has decided to throw his hat in the ring. He's running for Congress from the 16th Congressional District of Florida, which, if I'm not mistaken, includes Sarasota and Bradenton. He's joining us now, not necessarily to speak of his candidacy, but to speak of something very dire on the horizon for the Sarasota Medical Center. What is it called exactly? I just lost it. Oh, Martin, are you there? Hello, sir. Welcome back.
I am here, and it's Sarasota Memorial Hospital.
Gotcha.
And to your point, you know, people talk about elected representatives. Yeah, elected or not, people need representation. People need advocacy, and what we have here in Sarasota is being mirrored, I believe, across the country, but is a little bit unique. What we have, obviously, in Florida, a governor who mandated and brought a special session back to say that nobody could lose their job over a vaccine mandate, but our local publicly funded hospital, Sarasota Memorial, decided to go with Biden's federal mandate under the guise that would somehow secure their money from Medicare. And so what they've told their 7,200 employees that if by Friday they don't have a medical exemption, which is impossible because they have to be an SMH, Sarasota Memorial doctor, to do it, which they're not going to do, or a religious exemption, that come January the 4th, close to 20% of their employees are either going to have to get a jab or they're going to have to find another job. That's outrageous.
Holy hell.
These are people that, you know, during the pandemic, everybody coined the phrase healthcare heroes. These are people that turned up, wore their masks, their PPE, treated people. Nobody really knew the extent of the virus, to the extent the lethality of it, and yet they turned up to work every day. Now that, you know, arguably it's in the rearview mirror, and now it's a matter of control of people versus a control of the virus, they're turning around and they're telling them that, you know, your body is no longer your own. If you want to work for us, you have to stick something in it that you don't want. That's so un-American. It's so chilling. I hope your listeners agree. I know that I find it very hard to find anybody that thinks that it's reasonable for an employer to tell people, you know, what they should put in their body. I mean, where does that stop? You know, what you have for breakfast, lunch, dinner, what you watch on TV. This isn't a slippery slope. This is the end of the slippery slope. And if you're going to fire people, contrary to state rights, and 10th Amendment says that the state has the right to legislate over this, I don't know what we can do other than stand up and say no.
100%. As you and I were talking over the weekend, Martin, you had made mention that these employees might have to, if they did stay unvaccinated, they'd have to prove with testing twice a week at their own expense. Is that true?
Yeah, it is. You know, the hospital is making it as difficult as possible. Not only did they give them a religious exemption form that questions the degree of their faith and the veracity of it, which is extraordinarily intrusive. On top of that, they're saying that even if they were to grant this, saying they're going to test twice a week at their own expense. Well, I'm not a scientist, but I do know what I've read, and it says that these virus can be passed just as readily by people who've been vaccinated as not been vaccinated. So what they're doing here is a 14th Amendment issue. They're not treating people equally. They're saying that if you're unvaccinated, you're going to have to pay for it. These are working families. These are not wealthy physicians and surgeons for the most part. These are nurses. These are medical aides. These are people that are living almost paycheck to paycheck, and you're going to ask them to pay twice a week for a test while, frankly, the rest of the employees could be wandering around infecting people with impunity. It's outrageous on its face. It's bullying. It's coercion. And again, I say it's un-American, right?
Absolutely. So it was interesting. I started looking at some of your local newspaper coverage of this. Is there a newspaper that actually tells the truth? Because everybody was basically just set, right? It seemed like everything they were saying was that this is acquiesce or not. This is the way it goes. This is the new America. Oh, hell no, it is, sir.
Well, I mean, the newspapers, people used to pick up the newspaper for news, and now what you're picking up is leftist views, and I don't know why anybody would buy one other than to upset them or to motivate them. I mean, look what we've got this week. I mean, not to digress, but you've got Smollett's jury selection starting today. You've got Ghislaine Maxwell about potentially to take down half of the Democrat Party with her. Chuck Schumer must be shaking in his shoes, as must be Bill Clinton. And it's really a state of the union, a state of the country. You rightly said, why isn't the media up in arms? Why do these people that they called healthcare heroes just a few months ago, now they're down there with the sodomites? It's outrageous.
I agree. Right in the segment preceding yours, Martin, we're listening to congressional candidate in Florida, Martin Hyde. Right in the segment before yours, Martin, I had played a blip of sound regarding a hospital and emergency center in Long Beach, New York. This is a population of 50,000, so smaller than your area, that had to shut down. Their only emergency medical facility had to shut down because 72 workers there refused to acquiesce to the edicts of the government. And so now people in their community have no emergency care. You're talking about 72, you're talking about 1,300, sir. What is that going to do to Sarasota Memorial Hospital and to the people who depend on it for care? I mean, what the heck?
Well, that is the thing that, and that's why the media is doing such a disservice, because it is a big story. This is a county of 430,000 people. This is the overwhelming center of medical emergencies. If they lose 12 or 1,300 people overnight, it's a question. It's a 24/7 operation. Then it falls on the remaining staff to manage it. If they didn't need the staff, they wouldn't have the staff. They're already understaffed. Many organizations are, as we know right now. The idea that they could drop that many people, the idea that they have that kind of power is mistaken. I believe that they're going to have to change their tune, because if they don't, come January the 5th, people are going to die. And people are going to die not because they won't get treatment, but because they won't get the kind of care that they should have. The amount of nurses. You can't have people working double shifts. You can't have people staying up all night and then all day to treat people. Mistakes will happen. They are gambling here politically
with people's lives,
with people's health care. It's outrageous.
Now, tell me about your candidacy. So you decided to throw your hat in. I'm glad you did. You're a strong voice. You're a calm voice. You're a constitutional voice. You're a free voice. Tell everybody a little bit about that decision and what you're fighting against, sir.
Well, I came into this actually on another constitutional issue, the Second Amendment. Our current congressman here voted with just 7 other Republicans on H.R. 8, which is a background check gun control bill. And as far as I'm concerned, the Constitution is a divine document. As an immigrant, 25 years or so ago, I had to come here and not only pledge allegiance to the flag, but actually understand what the Constitution means. This is the oldest republic in the world. It works because it's a republic. Ben Franklin said that it was a question of if we can keep it. We've kept it for all this time, but now they're chipping away at it. So why am I running? I'm running because You can't equivocate on it. They use the term rhino, Republican in name only. I don't get too much into that other than to say that I can't have a representative that will equivocate on the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, Fifth, 10th, or 14th, or any other. As far as I'm concerned, that goes beyond their pay scale. We need people that represent the republic, represent the people within their congressional district. So, I'm not a politician. People always say that, but I'm genuinely not. I am a father. I am not a college graduate. I'm not terribly sophisticated. I can't read and write. I can understand the difference between right and wrong. And I think we need more people like that, more people that put America first, put their families first, and stop trying to change the way or the nature of this country. We have the right to bear arms. We have the right to free speech. And the minute you start talking about, well, maybe not in this circumstance or the other, I
It's
think
over.
we're in trouble.
I agree.
So, that's why I'm running.
I agree. I think one of the things most alluring about your platform is your discussion about term limits, because I've always thought of public service as a great honor. This isn't something that's owed to you. This is an honor, and it should be an honor of brevity. You should do your job. You should have a finite amount of time to serve, and then you should move along and be a productive member of society elsewhere. What is your feeling on this and how you approach term limits?
Well, term limits is absolutely right. I mean, people talk about why do these people change? Because they go there with ambition and drive, and then gradually they get it knocked out of them. And the way that our system works is that you don't get any real influence or authority until you've been there for eons. As far as I'm concerned, Washington was right. He gave himself 2 terms. I think, obviously 8 years. If you can't get something done in 8 years, you can't get it done. The Privy Council in Britain, when it meets, they stand up, and the reason they stand up is to keep people on point and to get the meeting expedited. And if you tell people when they get in that they've got a finite amount of time to get something done, I tend to think that they will. There's an old saying, work expands to fit the time available. And if you say that the time is indefinite, then nothing ever gets done, and nothing does get done, right?
Well, I think you're an outstanding candidate. I think you're a voice not just for your section of Florida, but also for the United States. And I believe 100% in your candidacy. I wish you the best. Please keep me informed about what goes on in Sarasota at your Memorial Hospital there. My suspicion is things are going to get worse before they get better, sir.
Absolutely. Hey, you have a great day, and keep putting America first like you do.
Thank you, sir. Take good care. Martin Hyde, everybody, a candidate, 16th Congressional District of Sarasota in Florida. 7,200 employees with a proverbial gun against their head. 1,300 facing the jab or job deadline of January 4th, with basically a snowball's chance in hell of securing a medical or religious exemption. Just think about the intrusion in your life to have to prove to a stranger that you love your God and your beliefs in such a way that you don't want stem cells or fetal tissue in your body, and for somebody to play God with you and your right to individual self-determinism. How audacious is that? And yet that is being passed off in city after city after city as the new normal, until people like Martin Hyde stand up and say, oh, hell no, not on my watch. It's going to come down to truckers. It's going to come down to the African Americans who've been pushing back against this and pushing back against this. It's going to come to people like you and like me standing up for what you believe in, because your values cannot be compromised. Dr. Richard Rafferty and the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh have helped thousands of people suffering the pain of sciatica, bulging and herniated degenerative discs in their back and their necks. People who've been told that those injections, those epidurals in their spine is the only solution, or the last ditch effort is the spinal surgery. Roll the dice on that. No, thank you. Don't you want to see if there's a non-surgical answer for you? An answer that can not just heal your pain, but can help your discs heal, help your body physically, fundamentally heal? Well, Dr. Richard Rafferty and his team at the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh know that procedure, and it's called intra-disc neutrosis, and it's 98% successful. Can it work for you? Are you a candidate? There's only one way to find out. It's to pick up the phone and make that appointment. 412-906-9600. Online, PittsburghDiscInstitute.com. Tell them the Wendy Bell Radio Show sent you. They'll be happy to hear from you. So there you go. Another edict. Thousands more people being told how they must live their lives. All the while, we're told it's safe and effective. Is it now? We're going to talk about that on the flip side. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Wendy Bell Radio program. No, it's okay. I think people will want to see it.
I think it's going to come down to truckers.
Yeah.
And healthcare workers.
Nurses, and not so much doctors,
Nurses.
but nurses and the people who work in the hospital who make it all happen. You know, all of the ancillary behind the scenes people who are actually the frontline workers.
Yeah,
I think truckers and the
because
medical
think of the two industries you can't do without: trucking and healthcare. Done.
You can't get your goods. You can't get medical.
Done.
See you later.
And you're going to turn off those voters too, because this is what it all comes down to: voters. You're going to turn off those voters that start losing family members or losing their own health.
Jason just put up a new shirt. It's very, very cool. It's in camo, it's in gray, it's in Brock blue, and it's in black. And it describes to you what this word means to us, facts. And it's a very cool shirt. I'm not going to read you what it says, but if you go to the Wendy Bell Radio Network and you look at it, it completely encapsulates our focus here on this program, what we fight for every single day. Check it out. I love them. Well done. So I think there's great disconnect between people like Joe Biden, who clearly don't have any medical know-how whatsoever. He's being led along on a leash by the likes of Tony Fauci, who I believe is dangerous, is beyond a clear and present danger to society. I believe the blood of so many, blood is on his hands. Let's just say that. I want you to hear Joe Biden over the weekend as he was strolling along, loving a nice, cool fall day in Nantucket. Asked about the 1,000-point stock market plunge, upon fears of the Omicron variant. Listen to one, clueless. Number two, completely not plugged in with the rest of America.
Media dropped significantly today. What's your response to that?
Expected. They always do when COVID rises.
But does it worry you at all?
Not at all.
Why not? Sir, why not an immediate ban? Sir?
Does it worry you? Not at all. Why would it worry me? It sure as hell worries me. I'm not part of the Biden crime family syndicate, so I'm not getting my 10% for the big guy. But are you kidding me? It always happens when something with COVID breaks. Wait a minute. I thought you were the guy who was going to be in charge. Remember, you were the one who was going to tackle this. Donald Trump was such an abysmal failure. You had the answers. Apparently not. Apparently not. I want you to hear about Dr. Doom and Gloom. Dr. Fauci talked about this Omicron variant, which, by the way, the physician who discovered it in South Africa is the first to tell you there's no reason to get your boxers in a bunch. From what we can tell right now, it's pretty mild. It's not a big deal. Don't let that persuade the new governor of New York to overreact and shut down her state or create emergency restrictions. That makes perfect sense. Greasing the skids to lock you in your house for November 2020 when you want to get out and vote at the polls, the way we do in America. Listen to Dr. Doom and Gloom. Will we need lockdowns? Oh, hell no.
Expect to be seeing more lockdowns again, new lockdowns, more mandates?
You know, I don't know, George. It's really too early to say. We just really need to, as I've said so often, prepare for the worst. And it may not be that we're going to have to go the route that people are saying. We don't know a lot about this virus, so we want to prepare as best as we can, but it may turn out that this preparation, although important, may not necessarily push us to the next level. People talking about lockdowns, people talking about that. Let's see what the information that we're getting in real time tells us, and we'll make decisions based on the science and the evidence the way we always do. But you want to be prepared to do anything and everything. And that's the reason why we're paying such close attention to this and why we're all over it.
Oh, they're all over it. I dare him, literally, dare him to try to squeeze us again. Americans will lose their freaking shizzle. Not happening again. Don't tell me this is based on science. None of this has been freaking based in science. It's all based on money and control and greed and power. That's all this is about. Not on wellness. Not on survival. Not on protection. This has been in play for decades. Decades. We're going to have to watch it closely. If he went away and was never spoken of again, it could only be a benefit to the American people. In fact, he had a dizzyingly disturbing sit-down with CBS News' Margaret Brennan over the weekend. We've managed to cut his interview up in 5 segments for you. What you are going to hear is a man who loves power. He loves power as much as Nancy Pelosi loves her position. These are people who are intoxicated by their own self-grandeur. They're the definition of a megalomaniac, a person who's obsessed with their own power. Don't worry about the collateral damage. Don't worry about the lies and the deceit. The reality is I'm in charge. Don't you forget it. But how he laughs about lying to Congress, how he invokes the Holy Trinity. If you ever had a question about Tony Fauci's political involvement, what side of the aisle he falls on, make no mistake. He's a leftist through and through, and it comes out in bold, brazen, beautiful colors, thanks to CBS. And the lack of follow-up questions tells you all you need to know about big medicine, big pharma, and big media snuggling under the covers, getting very comfortable with each other. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Wendy Bell Radio program.
going to put Jason's email up again for you guys who have merch questions.
Guys, it's Jason. If you could too, when you order, we're not going to give your phone number to anybody at all, but it helps us if we need to call you regarding something, because we've had shipments of V-necks not come and stuff like that. We want to keep you informed, but I've sent a lot of emails to people that they're saying either they haven't got or maybe they're going to spam. But it's very helpful if we can actually shoot you a call if there's an issue,
right?
Or because in many instances we can switch something out for you and make it a lot easier and a lot quicker. So if you could do that at the time of your order, it would be very helpful. Thank you.
I mean, if you ordered a hat, they're being made right now. So I'm waiting for it too. They turned out better than we expected them to.
They're fully embroidered.
Yeah, full embroidery, and yeah, I can't wait. I'm a big hat guy. And we're getting mugs out as we speak. We're having a lot of heart, and I'm not Joe, but we're not pulling a Joe Biden here. The buck does ultimately stop here, but we're having a lot of problems with, and not just Wendy Bell Radio. Wendy emailed a package to her son in California, and how long was it going to take, Wendy?
9 days.
9 days. I emailed.
Cost me $45.
Right.
I almost choked. I was like, what?
You shouldn't have to mortgage your house to send the package.
I mean, it's his birthday. I had to do it, you know?
Lisa, if you haven't heard you said you haven't heard anything in a month, please email Jason. He will take care of it, or one of the girls will take care of it, and reach out to you and find out what the.
See, we have our own frontline workers.
Yeah.
It's called Jason and the Gals. It's like a rock band.
Like a doo-wop band.
Yeah.
A doo-wop band, right.
Black mugs are being sent out.
Yes, you can also use that to ask questions about Wimkin, for sure.
Yes. I have one of my waters. Yeah, I'll bring it. Yeah, please, thank you. It's in the fridge.
This man is such a sanctimonious schmo. Wow.
I watched it. And what behind the scenes funny thing is I texted you and said, "Hey, I just edited Tony Fauci. You got to hear this."
I was editing it.
And she's like, "You're like, I'm editing it now."
We do that a lot.
It's a little scary.
Yeah, we do that a lot.
So, but I text you so you don't have to do it, you know, because we do find a lot of the same stuff.
All right, so we're gonna do some of this. We'll get through. Ugh, golly. I just can't stand his lies anymore.
Well,
His
you know,
sanctimony is so disgusting.
I'm so tired of hearing, and this just isn't him. This is the talking points of follow the science.
The science isn't able to be followed. You know, what's an idea or a parallel blanket statement that you're not supposed to question? You know, what is that?
It's the parental because I said so.
Mm-hmm.
Conversation over. That's
right.
That's one of those things.
No, I think that's a good point.
You're a racist. Yeah. Conversation over. I can't have a conversation anymore with you.
Right.
If you think I'm a racist, that's fine.
That's
You're
on
entitled
you.
to your non-facts. But it's the whole end of a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me I don't want to talk about this anymore. When you say follow the science, because all you have to do is say, well, what did the science? Just follow the science. Go to your room. Why? Because I said so.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't have patience for that. Hopefully you guys all have Jason's email now. I'm taking it down. We want you guys to have the stuff as much as you want the stuff. So the best thing to do is email Jason. And Jack Dorsey apparently is stepping down.
Oh, shucks.
That affects me none at all, so no offense. He's still the majority stockholder, so if he steps down or not, ultimately it's his say.
Whatever.
Until he sells.
They're all zeros. Don't you just want to meet one person who's a good person? One person who actually does what they say they're going to do.
Wow. I think Brock's can be tomorrow.
I'll push the buttons.
Right.
I should probably learn how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Using facts to take on the woke politicians, triggered leftists, and the corporate media.
You just got to try harder not to suck.
Live across the fruited plain and from the shining sea, you're listening to the Wendy Bell radio program.
Already into our third busy broadcast hour. So excited to have you along for the ride. Welcome to the Wendy Bell radio program. Quick sip of my water, sorry.
Sounds like you're out.
Yeah, I'm getting near the end.
Do you need
there.
another water?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
But I started feeling that really panicky tickle at the back of my throat. So we were talking in the commercial break about this whole follow the science. It's really such a farce for Tony Fauci to say, follow the science, because there is no science to follow with any of this. Every single scientific thing you're told to follow is a dead end. None of these things connect. Nothing makes sense. It's not supposed to. And I truly believe that Fauci is running scared, knowing full well that in 2022, the shift of power is going to happen. Republicans are going to have to freaking do something with it for the first time in a generation. And there will likely be a Republican in the Oval Office, whomever that person is. Because 3 more years of this decided excrement show, there's just no way there is a candidate who's going to be able to come on the left side and right this sinking ship. No how. Fauci knows he's wrong. Fauci knows he has lied. He knows he's complicit. He knows what he's done has led to the injury and the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Americans. And he knows at some point the gig is up. Or the jig, whatever it is. But when he says follow the science, that is code for because I said so, like a parent. There is no time for rebuttal. There is no conversation. There's no collaboration. There's no, well, let's discuss what we've all found. No. I've decided this is how it is. My way or no way. Suck it, deal. I'm sorry. It's decidedly un-American. And it's decidedly disgusting. So in a sit down, in a kind of an effort to, I don't know, save face, stay atop his own political, I don't know. He's obviously deluded as a megalomaniac, impressed and deluded by your own feelings of power. I want you to hear his sit down with CBS. This is such a joke interview. Margaret Brennan might have been sitting in his lap the whole time. She just should have been. They should have been snuggled up together. And she should have been like, oh, so tell me a little bit more. Lie to me more. I love it when you do that. right? That was creepy. It's supposed to be. So we have a series of 5 audio sound bites for you here. Listen to how he belittles the congressional inquiries into the gain of function research that we all know that he, the NIH, the NIAID, the WHO, all of them were a part of. Because they've been doing this for decades, ladies and gentlemen. It's just facts. Listen to him laughing about perjuring himself. Cut number 1.
So anybody who spends lies and threatens and all that theater that goes on with some of the investigations and the congressional committees and the Rand Pauls and all that other nonsense, that's noise, Margaret. That's noise.
And all that other nonsense. He is above Congress, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Tony Fauci, America's doctor, is bigger than all that noise. You know, the Rand Pauls. You know, the eye doctor who does free ophthalmological stuff in third world countries to help the less fortunate. The guy who's actually spoken honestly about COVID. Oh, Dr. Fauci is above all that. Good to know. This, to me, is chilling because it invokes the Holy Trinity. And if you think that the left isn't completely triggered by racism, Trump, and January 6th, pay attention.
I know what my job is.
Senator Cruz told the Attorney General you should be prosecuted.
Yeah. I have to laugh at that. I should be prosecuted. What happened on January 6th, Senator?
What? What happened on January 6th that has to do with you, Fauci? That's called deflection 101. What did Ted Cruz have to do with January 6th? Anybody remember? I don't. Was he part of the insurrection? Did he break? By the way, what we saw happen over the Thanksgiving weekend with these smash and grabs, a man stabbed to death outside a store in Houston, a security guard shot and killed, as dozens of people, if not hundreds of people, go across the country and just loot and rob and pillage and steal. That's way worse than what happened on January 6th. You kidding me? And why is Tony Fauci invoking the quote-unquote date of the insurrection as he giggles about Ted Cruz and him being held to account for his decision-making? He's the Tony Fauci. Don't you know? Don't you dare impugn him. Do you know who you're messing with? I like the answer to this question. Margaret Brennan's trying to get the question out when he's already answering it. I'm like, you might want to hear what she's asking you before you come back with your answer. Listen to this. Cut number 3.
Do you think that this is about making you a scapegoat to deflect from President Trump?
Of course. You have to be asleep not to figure that one out.
Well, there are a lot of Republican senators taking aim at this. I mean,
that's okay. I'm just going to do my job. And I'm going to be saving lives, and they're going to be lying.
I'm going to be saving lives by not discussing natural immunity. I'm going to be saving lives by pushing vaccine mandates on people who have no intention of getting them. I'm going to be saving lives, even though the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System database shows hundreds of thousands of lives damaged and more than 10,000 lost at a minimum because of Tony Fauci. He's going to be the one saving lives. Do you see the cape? He's got the cape on. He's got the wind machine blowing, his hair going. This guy is all that to himself. He's going to be saving lives. And finally, sanctimony on high. Listen to how he wraps himself in science. I am irrefutable. I am untouchable. I'm science. Don't mind you, none of the science adds up. I am science. Disgusting. Listen.
But if they get up and really aim their bullets at Tony Fauci, well, people could recognize there's a person there, so it's easy to criticize. But they're really criticizing science because I represent science. That's dangerous. To me, that's more dangerous than the slings and the arrows that get thrown at me. And if you damage science, you are doing something very detrimental to society.
Do not criticize. Do not question. Do not think for yourself. Do not push back. Do not get in the way. Do not deny that he is the all-powerful Tony Fauci. I have never heard anything from him more disturbing than that particular interview. If you criticize me, you criticize science. Well, Dr. Fauci, you've bastardized science. You ruined the scientific process by your greed and your lies. What of this can we believe? We can't believe the PCR tests, which, by the way, weren't designed for this purpose. We can't believe that. We can't believe the numbers of people that have tested positive because those PCR tests don't work. We can't believe the number of people who've been hospitalized with COVID because those numbers have been fudged as well. We don't know how many people have died in nursing homes because our blue state governors have fudged those numbers. We don't know how many people are unvaccinated or vaccinated passing this along because they've been fudging those numbers as well. If you criticize the science, you have every right to, because the science is not believable anymore. They've been lying to you from the very beginning. And the mission is clear. Money, variants, booster shots, new discoveries, another shot, money. And around we go. Until enough people stand up and say, suck it. And I do believe Omicron is going to be that moment. Mark my words. That ain't going to happen. I love talking about the battlegrounds here in southwestern Pennsylvania. The battlegrounds is perhaps the coolest place to hang out with your family, to have a holiday get together, to do a corporate retreat, something with your company. It is 3 stories of indoor Nerf gun and airsoft gun amazement. All these different battlefields to shoot people on. Now wait, everything comes safe, all right? You get all the safety gear, all the training, referees to make sure everything is cool. But you get to run around, go crazy, couple hours, have your own personal staff tend to your party, right? And they've got extended holiday hours so that they can accommodate you and your friends, your coworkers. Plus, I've told you about Show Me Your Hobbies, which is a part of the battlegrounds. This is where all your remote control dreams come true. Holy cow. They've got RC cars, trucks, boats, crawlers. It is one of the coolest places Brock and I have ever been. Their hours will be extended throughout the holiday season for more open play sessions, but you got to register on their website. Go check them out. Check out the videos. Go through a walkthrough on any of their fields. It is amazing. The battlegroundspa.com. The battlegroundspa.com. Call them today. Make your reservation. 412-530-2192. The Battlegrounds. Don't just play the game. Be the game at the battlegrounds. You know, they say that this is such a safe and effective thing for us to get. So why are so many professional athletes collapsing on the pitch, on the course, on the field? Why so? I'm going to go through a little list, just a beginning list of people. Maybe Dr. Fauci's science can explain this to us. Coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio program. he's just so disgusting.
Well, don't question me. Questioning me, you're questioning science. I'm blocking this person. They keep posting the same story, and I think it's a spammer, so.
Fair enough.
I'm just tired of it. I'm sure a lot of you have already blocked that person.
What were they saying?
Biden's
taken to
been
the
taken to the hospital.
Whatever. Biden is supposed to be talking to America in 25 minutes, so we'll see
Can
about
we
that.
start a chant like instead of "Let's go Brandon," let's go Tony? Can we hashtag that and start that? Or let's go Fauci?
You know who I want to get on the show? I'm going to reach out to him, Dr. Jensen,
I was gonna say Anthony Fauci.
Dr. Scott Jensen.
I'd
Can you
like
imagine?
to have Fauci on the air. I'd like to see someone actually push back on him. Explain your science. And for the people who say, "Oh, you guys are getting science books for Christmas," it's not a matter of just explain the science. We're not saying maybe Tony Fauci's right, but the fact that here's why we don't believe you, Tony, because you don't back anything up.
You just say this is the way it is.
You have the mentality to say, well, if you question me, you're questioning science. No, scientists question science.
Well,
that's part of science is question.
I would ask him about.
Hold on, I got to get off my soapbox.
Oh, okay. There's a lot I would ask him about. And I have it all written down.
Yeah, let's go Tony, I think would fly. Let's go Tony.
No, but you need something that's a dig.
Or like a FTF.
Science. Something that has to do with science.
I'm starting to put Anthony Fauci up there with the famous scientists like Bill Nye the Science Guy. Yeah.
Or the magician that comes to your kid's birthday party.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Where did he go?
Or maybe he's a doctor that's on like General Hospital.
You could not have been more of a yinzer in the way you just said that. General Hospital.
I hate her.
Yes, I know.
I hate her.
I know. It's been a while since you've been able to say that. You gotta love Ted Cruz. He responds to Fauci's attack on him in a scathing statement and doubles down on call for a criminal probe into Tony Fauci. He responded to the attack Sunday by doubling down on his call for the Department of Justice to investigate Fauci for alleged false statements that he made while testifying to Congress. There's nothing alleged about it. Based on everything we know, Fauci lied to Congress. This is a quote, anybody who spins lies and threatens and all that theater that goes on with some of the investigations into congressional committees and the Rand Pauls and all that nonsense, that's noise, Margaret, that's noise, Fauci had said. Later, when asked about Senator Ted Cruz, yeah, I have to laugh that I should be prosecuted. What happened on January 6th, Senator? Okay, because we're going to deflect and we're going to talk about that instead of you and your lies. Cruz responded to Fauci's remark in a series of tweets late Sunday afternoon, calling Fauci a, quote, unelected technocrat who has distorted science and facts in order to exercise authoritarian control over millions of Americans. Facts. Quote, he lives in a liberal world where his smug, I represent science attitude is praised. Cruz then laid out 4 facts related to his call for the DOJ to investigate Fauci, and they go as follows. Number 1, on May 11th, Fauci testified before a Senate committee that the NIH, quote, has not and does not now fund gain-of-function research in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Number 2, on October 20th, NIH wrote they funded an experiment at the Wuhan lab testing if spike proteins from naturally occurring bat coronaviruses circulating in China were capable of binding to the human ACE2 receptor in a mouse model, which is, by the way, gain-of-function research. Number 3, Fauci's statement and the NIH's October 20th letter cannot both be true. The statements are directly contradictory. And number 4, 18 U.S. Code 1001 makes it a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison to lie to Congress. And Cruz concludes, no amount of ad hominem insults parroting Democrat talking points will get Fauci out of this contradiction. He either needs to address the substance in detail with specific factual corroboration, or the DOJ should consider prosecuting him for making false statements to Congress. And he got lots of backlash, ladies and gentlemen. Journalist Gerald Beyer saying this is not helpful in any way about Fauci and is going on CBS. This is almost word for word something a cult leader would say. This persuades no one already in his corner. Richard Grenell, former acting director of national intelligence. Fauci is all about politics. The House Judiciary GOP Twitter account, facts, he says, quote, trust the science, fire Fauci. So they don't want to tell you about how this has harmed people. I made a brief list of people who, after the jab, have reported suffered severe effects. These are just a handful of the athletes. Former Saints linebacker Paris Harrelson, 37, died. Jimmy Hayes, a 31-year-old former Bruins player, unexpectedly dies. The Jets' Vinnie Curry, out for the season with a rare blood disorder. Hank Aaron dies a couple weeks after getting his jab. 25-year-old Ottawa footballer Francis Perron dies after a game. Danish soccer star Christian Eriksen collapses. He was a midfielder for Inter Milan. Former Atlanta Hawks guard Brandon Goodwin, out with blood clots. 27-year-old Malaysian Olympic archer, dead. 23-year-old Irish footballer Roy Butler collapses and dies. 29-year-old Australian sailor dies after catastrophic stroke. Oilers goalie Alex Stalock, myocarditis, likely out for the season. Brazilian soccer player Alex Apollinario collapses and dies on the pitch. BMXer Kyle Warner, pericarditis. Barcelona star Sergio Aguero taken off the pitch for dizziness, chest pain, unable to walk by himself. Indonesian badminton star Marquis Quito dies of a heart attack at the age of 36. NCAA tournament ref Bert Smith collapses during Elite Eight game. Blood clots. Josh Downey, 24-year-old cricket player, dies of a heart attack at practice. Ex-Parma footballer Giuseppe Perino, 29, dies while playing in a memorial match for his own dead brother. 34-year-old Tom Pelton, from Harry Potter fame, collapses during a celebrity golf match. How many more? Pages and pages and pages and pages. Where is the story about this? Do 26 and 29 and 31-year-old professional athletes just randomly collapse, ladies and gentlemen? They do not, unless there's a problem. Follow the science. We're going to step aside. When we come back, we're going to talk about the big story of the day and why some of this might just be the smokescreen for it, the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. You're listening to the Wendy Bell Radio program.
Hi.
My bad. I had to hurry up and try to ban somebody there. Just
You had to hurry up and do what?
ban someone and get rid of some of the vulgarity. So that's why
People are gross.
I
That's
didn't play
unfortunate.
the. Art Cali Rado listening. I'm assuming, is that California Is that Colorado? It says Kali. Rado. Something my goal today is to try to find out about the Maxwell case as much as I can. Looked up this one person. I'm trying, Scott, to remove that guy. I was just going to say, I looked up his name. It's like 20 accounts, right, with just one letter changed in them. And that's what they do. And it's just like, yeah. But at some point, Facebook has that. That's where that checking someone that. Okay. Okay. But that's why you're not getting Employee of the Month. Thank you. Yes, take care. Peace. You have to get a new table too. You don't even have a big kitchen.
It is a restaurant.
Oh, okay. I hope what I got you comes today. Yeah, I don't know how to follow the Maxwell case. I would say go to conservative sites, but I don't even know how much access they're going to have. I can put Jason's email up for 1 minute and 27 seconds.
You know, I'm just trying to find a good wrap up of what's going on, and it's very difficult because I believe none of these sources.
I don't know. Is Dorsey involved in that Epstein? Maybe that's why he's stepping down. Who knows?
You're not going to be sick.
I don't know. I'm going to keep you guys on your toes. I only call off like an hour and a half before the show. Yeah, Jim Comey's daughter is the prosecutor in the case. Apparently.
Nothing to see there.
Yep.
She was also part of the video that disappeared.
Right. You know, because Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. Let's follow the science on that one, Tony.
It's pathetic.
Oh, Jeffrey, that joke won't ever get old. Here we go.
I think it's without saying that the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, I believe today, is among the biggest headlines. I find it very curious. In a world of cameras in the courtroom, this happens to be the one case where cameras are not allowed. Isn't that convenient? How many people are connected to Jeffrey Epstein and his number two, Ghislaine Maxwell, the woman who allegedly helped arrange the sexual liaisons, helped find allegedly the underage girls who would be connected to Epstein's pedophilia operation, who would be perhaps on the Lolita Express traveling with Bill Clinton and others. Donald Trump apparently named in some of this as well. Reportedly also Supreme Court Chief Justice, what's his face?
John
Roberts. Thank you.
Thank you. That's teamwork there.
There we go. I had a complete brain freeze on that one. How many people? Ghislaine Maxwell was a guest at Chelsea Clinton's wedding. Oops. How many other people? The problem is trying to find any good information about this is all but impossible. And wait, what's this? James Comey's daughter is the lead prosecutor? Get out. This is really outstandingly coincidental. According to Business Insider, let's get some details. Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell have brought plenty of familiar faces along with him into the spotlight, including Prince Andrew. I didn't do anything. Not me. Former Presidents Donald Trump and Bill Clinton. But one newcomer is 32-year-old Maureen Comey, the daughter of former FBI Director James Comey. Maureen is one of the three lead prosecutors on the case against Ghislaine Maxwell, whose child sex trafficking trial is scheduled to begin today. Despite her father's history of dominating the news cycle, Maureen has largely stayed out of the spotlight, instead maintaining a low-profile presence. But she's taken on major cases before Maxwell's trial, including the prosecution of Natalie Edwards, a self-proclaimed Treasury Department whistleblower, and also Robert Haddon, a gynecologist accused of sexually abusing dozens of young female athletes. She was also one of the lead prosecutors in the case against Jeffrey Epstein before he killed himself in August 2019 while awaiting trial. Here's what we know about the first daughter of law and order. Comey is currently an assistant U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York, one of the most prestigious federal prosecutor's offices nationwide. The district covers Manhattan and the surrounding area, making it the center of prosecutions for financial crimes and other high-profile cases. Maureen Comey is also, joined the office in 2015. She's listed as one of the three lead prosecutors handling the case against Maxwell, along with Assistant U.S. Attorneys Alex Rossmiller and Allison Gainford Moe. The three also handled the case against Epstein, who was indicted in July 2019 for numerous sex crimes. For the case against Maxwell, they're joined by Assistant U.S. Attorneys Andrew Rohrabach and Laura Elizabeth Pomerantz. The prosecutors have accused Maxwell of trafficking teenage girls for sex and sexually abusing them herself, along with Jeffrey Epstein. Maxwell has pled not guilty to the charges and has denied all misconduct. Right. Trust the science. James Comey was the head of the SDNY between 2002 and 2003, before former President George Bush named him Deputy Attorney General. He worked in the private sector from 2005 until former President Barack Obama named him FBI Director in 2013. Prior to joining the Southern District of New York office herself in 2015, Maureen Comey worked for a year as a clerk for Loretta Preska, who at the time was the chief judge at the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York. Preska oversees a long-running defamation case that Virginia Giuffre filed against Maxwell. Huh. Giuffre has accused both Maxwell and Epstein of sexual misconduct, and the civil lawsuit has led to numerous unsealed documents related to Epstein's and Maxwell's conduct. Interesting. Now, Comey has also worked on another Epstein-related case, Nicholas Tartaglione. The former police officer was arrested in 2016, accused of killing 4 men as part of a drug crime conspiracy. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. He's been jailed for the past 5 years, often getting into arguments with correctional officials, blah, blah, blah. Tartaglione, or Tartaglione, I have no idea, was briefly roommates with Jeffrey Epstein at Manhattan's Metropolitan Correctional Center in 2019 and was in fact living with Epstein when Epstein made his first suicide attempt in jail on July 23rd. Tartaglione claimed to have helped Epstein after finding him unconscious. The jail was shut down earlier this year after numerous scandals. Interesting, too, that Maureen Cuomo was the same person who was the one who reported that the prosecutor's office had misplaced the videotapes outside the cell of Jeffrey Epstein that would have allegedly shown him trying to kill himself. Ah, interesting. So who's the judge in this case? I'm sure you're wondering. Well, Reuters has this write-up on this person, nominated to her role by none other than Chuck Schumer. Wow, these people are all really crazy connected, aren't they? According to Reuters, U.S. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer on Tuesday, November 16th. Wow, this was recent. This was just 2 weeks ago. Recommended that President Joe Biden elevate the Manhattan federal judge overseeing the sex abuse trial of British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell to the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. If nominated and confirmed, U.S. District Judge Allison Nathan would become the second only lesbian woman to serve as a federal appellate judge. Does anybody out there care that this person is a lesbian? Is she a good judge? That's kind of all I want to know. Schumer is the top Democrat in the Senate, and the senior senator from New York, Biden, often follows his recommendations, as well as those from other senior Democratic lawmakers for home state nominees. Nathan, 49, was nominated by former Democratic President Barack Obama to the district court bench in 2011. After serving as a special assistant to Obama and assistant White House counsel from 2009 to 2010. Schumer on Twitter said he recommended her then and was proud to champion her again, called her outstanding. Now, this announcement elevating her up the bench comes as Nathan is presiding over jury selection in the trial of Maxwell, whom prosecutors say recruited and groomed underage girls for deceased financier Jeffrey Epstein to abuse. Edward Friedland, the district executive for the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York, where Maureen Comey works, in a statement said if Nathan were nominated, he had, quote, every reason to believe she would keep presiding over matters on her docket. So is there anything outwardly nefarious about any of this? No. But don't you find it somewhat bizarre that we're not allowed to hear the testimony? They're quick to point out that former presidents Trump and Clinton are part of this alleged circle with Epstein and Maxwell, etc. Who else? Don't you have a right to know? ASU students feel like they have a right to know all about Kyle Rittenhouse and to prevent him from ever stepping foot on their campus, calling him a murderer, a white supremacist, echoing former then President candidate, Joe Biden's claims. So you have former FBI Director James Comey's daughter, who was part of the case of the missing prison cell video that would have showed exactly what happened to Jeffrey Epstein. You know what happened to Jeffrey Epstein the night that both of the prison guards who were supposed to be monitoring him fell asleep and don't remember what happened? You know, the same video that apparently, no, we found out it really wasn't the video outside his cell. It was a video from another floor and another inmate. Nothing to see here. Sorry. Really? And you're supposed to think that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. I happen to think back to that logic. Why would a guy who's conned so many people for so many years think that this would be the moment when he has the most leverage in his life? He's got all the dirty black book secrets. Who traveled on his plane? Who had sex with girls ostensibly in the back of it, in the big king-size bed? Who traveled to the private islands? Who partied at his posh Manhattan house? He had all of that information. Why would Jeffrey Epstein take his own life? My suspicion, he wouldn't. He didn't. And we know so. Ghislaine Maxwell, that she survived as long as she has, is truly remarkable. But if she walks and people aren't identified, you know for a fact that the rules of law and order and justice don't apply to the very elite. Period. I'll be interested. We'll be watching it for you every single step of the way. The challenge is, whom do you believe? What kind of facts are we going to get in there? Because you know as well as I, Peter Doocy isn't going to be one of the poll reporters. More Gains Fitness is a proud supporter of the Wendy Bell radio program, and we are proud supporters of Kelly Morgan and her family. They own 4 More Gains Fitness facilities in Somerset and Cambria counties. Your friendly, trained staff at More Gains Fitness believes exercise is always the best medicine, and that everyone can become the best version of themselves through fitness. This is veteran-owned. A veteran-owned business run by a husband and wife team for a decade now. And they have the experience and the passion and the knowledge to help you achieve your finest fitness goals. They offer 24/7 access, multiple membership options, plenty of free weights, Nautilus and plate-loaded weight machines, cardio equipment, a cross-training rig, an indoor track and turf setup, group fitness classes, certified personal trainers, metabolism testing, body composition analysis, even childcare. Get in touch with them. More Gains Fitness. They're outstanding. MORGAINZ. MoreGainsFitness.com. Go there. Get your body in shape. You know it's not just me who's thinking all of these nefarious things, right? They make a living out of lying to you about being above the law. I don't care who falls from grace out of this. We should know. All right, when we come back, we're going to wrap this up. Levi's going uber woke. Do you want to buy their jeans anymore? You know my answer. You're listening to the Wendy Bell radio program. Don't go anywhere.
You left someone out.
What'd you say?
You left someone out.
Oh, no. What did I leave out?
Which is part of the reasons probably not covered.
Huh?
Bill Gates.
Oh, sure. Sure. I was just trying to find...
We played that sound a couple weeks ago with him saying, well, yeah, I had meetings with him over the years, but
that doesn't matter.
He's dead now.
He's dead now. Oh,
and
that's convenient.
Wait, you forgot the facial expression. He's dead now.
Yeah, he was really creepy.
Yes.
So here's
JD
this.
out, by the way.
Yes, please. Hmm.
Jenny, I hate the hypocrisy of the left. I hate the hypocrisy of anyone. I don't think it's just the left. I think everyone that was on that plane or took part in Jeffrey Epstein's whatever needs to be taken down. I'm wondering, to me, this is like a bad movie. So I think one huge name's going to drop. It's going to be like Prince Andrew or something where they can't really do anything because he doesn't live here. They've already pretty much established that he can't come back and he's lying about it. One name will drop. We'll get one name. Just enough to wet the whistle and get us talking about something we shouldn't be.
I like talking about John D'Onofrio to wrap up every day's show. He is the lawyer I trust with arguably some of life's most delicate and personal decision making. Sitting down with a trusted advisor, a lawyer who knows the ins and outs of estate planning, who can help you put together a trust so that your money, your wealth, your estate goes where you want it to after you pass away. It's a pivotal part of having peace of mind in this world we all share. John D'Onofrio is the lawyer I trust with this. He's got 40 years of experience. He knows the ins and outs, the legal maze, the questions to ask you, the ways to help you avoid paying even more in taxes to the government that doesn't deserve your hard-earned money. John D'Onofrio is the man. His number, 412-928-2068. Attorney John D'Onofrio. So I'm reading some of these stories. It's hard to find any good article. Good meaning fair, believable by a name that hasn't already screwed you over so many times by lying about whatever the alleged truth is out there. I don't trust Newsweek any more than I trust anybody else. But among some of the names that apparently have trickled out regarding who could fall. And I agree with Brock. I think there is going to be a pivotal person on this list, and people are running wicked scared. So now Donald Trump is listed on here. He and Melania both spent time with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't know if that's just because they're both loaded and they were hobnobbing, or if for any other reason. But then again, this is the same Donald Trump for whom we were told engaged in a hotel with a prostitute in some golden shower BS that Hillary Clinton bought and paid for. The Steele dossier. So what can we possibly believe from this? So also embroiled in these allegations, Prince Andrew. Now, Prince Andrew, we have photographs of him with Virginia Giuffre, or whatever her last name is. There's photos of him with his arm around her young waist. That's going to be a hard one to rebut. And we've seen his interviews where he was all sweaty and looked weird and got pale, and you could tell was, right? That doesn't look good for the royal family, but whatever. The royal family never looks good. Alan Dershowitz, we've had him on this program multiple times, vociferously denies and is countersuing people who have said, or suing, people who have said that he had relations and was involved with Epstein, be it on his plane or on any of his properties. Dershowitz is absolutely not. That the young lady who's apparently said that, he's suing. These people, I don't know. Brock, if you know who they are, let me know. Emmy Taylor, don't know. Sarah Kellen, don't know. Eva Dubin, Glenn Dubin. I'm going to presume these are rich people who are out of our pay grade.
Probably.
Jean-Luc Brunel. That's not Jean-Luc Picard, or whatever his name was. Sorry. Nadia Marcinkova, Bill Clinton,
I know him.
Bill Gates. Would anybody be at all surprised? And in fact, he has been linked to this.
He has, and that's
multiple times.
Very time-wise. That's when he got divorced. That's when she said, "I'm out."
Well, and then he did that weird interview, and I don't remember with whom it was, when he was asked about Jeffrey Epstein and his connection to him, and he was basically brushed it off and said it didn't matter because he was dead. And then looked creepy and rich, like a creepy rich guy. Marvin Minsky, Henry Jarecki, Naomi Campbell.
She's a supermodel.
Yes, she is. Ron Eppinger. Don't know who that is. These are all people who might ring a bell to you guys. Stephen Hawking.
I know who that is.
Right. That is an oddball one. Is that an oddball one?
Yeah.
Oddball.
Very odd.
So several other celebrities have been linked, but it's been debunked. Among them, Ellen DeGeneres, John Legend, Chrissy Teigen, Oprah Winfrey. Let's be very clear about this. There's going to be a lot of people in the Jeffrey Epstein orbit. The rich, the famous, oscillating in the same crowds does not mean there is guilt by association.
Can I say I think it's going to be John Roberts that goes down?
I absolutely agree with you.
Because then they can replace him in the Supreme Court.
I don't disagree with you at all. And I think that John Roberts, they've got so much dirt on him, which is why he voted yes for Obama. He did all this stuff and swayed the court to the left, even as a conservative, an alleged conservative. I think you're absolutely right. I think John Roberts, Supreme Court Chief Justice, I think there's dirt there. And I believe that there are logs, that there's no reason in a million years why Jeffrey Epstein would have ever felt pressured. This guy was able to prove that you can buy your way through anything. These people operate on a different level of justice than the rest of us. There is none, which is why Bill and Hillary Clinton served less time than Kyle Rittenhouse, who actually defended himself. Hillary and Bill just decided to try to swindle the world with their crime family foundation. So we will be watching. By the way, I want to just tell you this because I told you, Levi's, I'm sure you'll be happy to know, they've hired a racial trauma therapist for employees who've been rocked by the Rittenhouse trial. You know, I just think this is a racial trauma specialist, it says, who can help people get over this. You know what? Just stop. That's the theme of today's just stop. The parents of America are saying to the children, the Levi's, etc., grow up and stop wasting our time. We appreciate having you along. As always, please download the Wendy Bell Radio Network app. Check out our merch. Support us and our sponsors. And as always, thank you. Peace. See you tomorrow.